Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Tuesday morning trading session. Hang on here. The market's just opened up. I'll get the screen share going on. Looks like we're getting an early signal here on the NASDAQ, and I might set up this trade and then I'll explain what's going on. Darn it. Okay, I better quit horsing around. We'll just get this trade on. There we go. Okay, so the market opening this morning with a little bit excuse me, still fighting off my cough. The market opening this morning off of a little bit of a gap lower. You can see yesterday's session, full-on bull session. And this morning here on the Eagle, we are getting a trend change signal. Our cloud has flipped over, and it's now producing our first in-sync signal. Now, I am looking at taking a second push on this entry, and all that means is that we allow the signal to engage, and then we see where the buying comes in. So we know the current limit of this market. The second push entry is a great way to stay out of harm's way if you're not entirely sure which way the market might be going. All right, well, they've since retreated from there, so I'm going to cancel that. I just wanted to get that order in there because I thought maybe they were going to bolt from there. We'll take a look here at the Raptor now. And you can see the Raptor produced the cloud crossover signal. That's the #1 signal. Just prior to the market open, about a half an hour or so. And they came right back now with the counter trend signal, the soft edge buy. That's the #2 signal. So I didn't think they were going to try to get into that gap, but it does look that way right now. So we'll probably see a rally up here somewhere near the median line. The gap technically, I guess, is 53.95. The median line sitting at 53.97 ¼ And now we're getting a first micro macro cross higher, and here comes the Eagle once again. Now, this time with the green bar sell. No, not yet. The market looks a lot brisker this morning, doesn't it? So we had a first micro macro cross that could have got on board here. And we are working a possible trend change signal. What time is it? We're only about 5-6 minutes into the session. So we're still a little bit early. Because it's so early, you might be wondering, why isn't Eric doing the trend change signal here on the Falcon? Well, you certainly could, and I would probably recommend a second push entry on this one. My concern is this, that we are in fact in a sideways trading range. And you know that if I suspect we're in a sideways range, I much prefer to let the market break out, show me that it can stay out, and then look for the buy signal or sell signal as the case may be. But it is a valid signal, no question. Oh, and there they go. Crude oil off a little bit in the overnight, and kind of sideways again, which has been typical of crude oil of late. Okay, so it looks like the buyers, in fact, continuing to press. I'm not sure what to make of this just yet. Like I said, it's definitely looking like a buyer's market today. As we fill in the gap of the morning and get back toward yesterday's highs, around this 5,400 area, they did poke a little higher through the Asian session before tailing off through the overnight. Okay, well, the buyer's kind of stuck now. So if this in fact was a sideways trading range right here, we are looking at the retest after the breakout. So we've got the breakout, excuse me, looking for the retest, and then looking to see whether or not the buyers can actually stay out of this, or whether they're going to fail and drift back inside the trading range. No, Gary, I haven't. Gary asks, have you ever had an indicator just appear or disappear from your NinjaTrader 7 list? The ultimate support and resistance lines are missing on mine. If you don't have Ben's email address, he's the guy to ask, and he's the guy who will be able to hook you up with your missing indicator. So if any of you ever experience anything like that, Ben's the guy you want to talk to, and there is his email. Hey, way to go, Clayton. Clayton taking advantage of this little run up here. And he says, picked up $200 profit on 2 contracts. Nicely done. Nicely done, Clayton. Yeah, they just, I know, maybe I was a little bit too timid out of the gate here. I looked at the market, the big opening gap down, and I was thinking short today. But, oh, see, and now I'm too slow. Got the cloud crossover signal. I did intend to try to take advantage of that one. But just kind of slipped past me. The buyers are strong this morning. They are pressing pretty good. Well, we'll see what happens here as they get back toward yesterday's highs. They got there a little reluctantly yesterday. And we are back to, at the median line now. The median line at 53.97 quarter. So that's kind of where we're sitting, just below there. Clayton asking how long This trade forecasters say the market's in trend mode for about another 10 minutes, after which it's saying we could be moving into swing mode. So yeah, if we weren't right here at the 5,400, I would have tried to buy in off of one of these follow-through signals, but we're back at yesterday's highs, which is making me a little bit more apprehensive. I've waited this long. I may as well wait a few more minutes. See if we get a trend change signal or what's happening here. The buyer's very strong out of the gate though. So it's looking like a buyer's market today. Oh dear, and are they not going to give me a second chance here at all? It has happened to me before, not often, but occasionally I get caught on my heels, and there is the odd day where I just get shut out. All right, we're seeing a little bit of reaction here at 5,400-ish. Not a real surprise, I don't think, to anybody. Here's the euro now on the Raptor. And excuse me, we're into the hard edge here on the cloud. We may see a bounce out of here and a number 3 signal produce, our hard edge bounce signal. We still have yesterday's gap open. The market never did get low enough yesterday to fill the gap. If you remember, Thursday's trading left off down here around the 53, 54, 55 area, and we opened slightly higher at around 53.70, so there is a small gap down here. Not much different actually than this morning's gap that did not fill. The market, while it has a tendency to fill the gaps the same day that the gap is made, that's not always the case. Occasionally it will take a day or two to try to fill those gaps. All right, the Falcon working a possible late filter entry, or the filter is out of sync anyways. I'm getting a little ahead of myself. Macro pullback signal here on the Hawk. And I think, oh yes, there's enough in there that we can get to our profit objective before we start to run into that 5,400 barrier again. I'm not sure I would go in for the full amount though. Yes, I'm a little bit of a chicken here this morning. What I'm anticipating is a reversal, if you have included to that. I'm anticipating that this 5,400 area is going to hold. Actually, here I'll show you on the Eagle. It's a little easier to see. Essentially giving us something resembling a double top. And that the market might reverse on itself here. Darn it, we got ourselves a late filter entry signal here, and now I'm kind of stuck. Well, stuck. Looking to buy a break above the high. Come on, don't stop now. Come on. Ooh, there we go. Nice little break. Stops now hit the break-even trigger. Come on. Don't you look away now. Let's go. Unfortunately for me, I was a little bit late on the entry. Otherwise, I would already be at my profit target. Come on, get up there. Come on, just a little more. Let's go. See, had I taken it right on the hash mark, I would already be at the profit target. That's why we're seeing a little bit of a reaction there. The trade is at break even, so I'm not too terribly upset about it. But it would be nice to hit the profit target. Hooray! Okay, so in spite of me being a little bit late to the party, I did manage to pick up at least a little bit of a profitable trade. And it looks like the buyers, oh, I was going to say it looks like the buyers are going to run away with the market. But just as I was about to say that, there's a little hesitation now at the new high. Well, high of the last couple days. Oh, I see why. We have primary resistance just above us here at 54.07. That's why. You guys are knocking it out of the park here. Gary says total of 14.5 NASDAQ points on 4 contracts. Nice day so far. I would say so. Well done, Gary. anytime you're posting 4 figures on the day, then that's always a good day. Yes, Gary says it took off of yesterday's highs. Let me show you why. You know how I was looking at shorting around 5,400? Well, I wasn't the only one. And what happens is you get traders that just start shorting around this 5,400 area. They were probably selling like this, because that's about how low they got. So the market drifts up here near yesterday's highs, fills the gap, and look at what happens. Well, they start selling. And a lot of these traders will be using limit orders, a lot of them will be using market orders, but one thing they will almost always have in common, because they have a more predictive mindset, they will, in other words, they're trying to second guess what the market's going to do next, they will almost always keep their trailing stops very nearby. It almost guaranteed that they're only a few ticks above this recent high. So if the market got up here to 53, 97, 98 and you started tapping the sell button, you're probably going to, once you see that a top is in, you're probably going to throw your stop around 5,400, 53.99, 53, 5,400 quarter. So what happens is when the market reverses and actually breaches this area, and all these traders are found out to be wrong, well, then you get that quick little hop up. Now you can see that from this reaction, there's still a lot of traders thinking this is the end of the bull move this morning. We're getting some much more aggressive selling. I'm getting a little red bar buy signal here. The trend line on the Falcon already flipping over. Hey, way to go, Tony. Tony says, I was fortunate to have 2 contracts on that runner in the NASDAQ Hawk. Well done. I love to hear about your successes because, it's one thing to show you the trades, but it's another thing to hear that you guys are, taking advantage of the markets and learning on your own to pick your signals. All right, so what I'm looking for now is a confirmation that, in fact, a top is in. We won't have that until we get the test of the extreme. Anything short of that, we're still in a buyer's market, as unlikely as it may seem at the moment. No complete signal just yet. Just watching and waiting still. All right, well, we're still waiting. We're back into the hard edge here on the Raptor, not quite to the hard edge on the Eagle. Still got the warning dot here on our red bar buy signal, but no complete signal just yet. And here come the buyers. Gary's just killing it this morning. Gary says he picked up another 6.5 points off a short off yesterday's high. Nicely done. Oh, okay, so our red bar buy signal disappeared. We've now got a first, well, the beginnings of a first micro macro cross lower. The macro line not in sync yet, so we can put that one back on the shelf for now. Well, they're just kind of drifting here at the moment. Looks like we are going to see the market move here now to the hard edge, and we might get a reaction off of that. This is very reminiscent of yesterday's trading. Just a lot of seesaw, back and forth type activity. All right, so are they going to press? Are we going to see that test of the extreme? I would venture a guess yes. You see, even signals like our trend change signal that's building here on the Falcon, we need to see a reversal, right? We need to see the buyers come in so that the sellers can take over. It's the same thing that happens here in reverse. The trend line changes color. There's the push that changes the trend line color. There's the sellers trying to regain the market, and then here are the buyers showing up saying, nope, we got this. Well, we've got the same kind of thing happening in reverse now, but we're not quite there yet. So we should see an uptick here. It's rare indeed to see the market just make a full-on reversal without any hesitation along the way. Okay, it's rare, but obviously it's not impossible. So we've slipped a couple of ticks here, and it looks like we're going to try to head a little bit lower still. Stinkers. All right, they've pressed all the way back now to the primary support line without any kind of reaction here. Next stop, 53.77 3/4, essentially 53.78, and that also puts us near the lows of the morning. I was just going to point out this first micro-macro cross signal. It has since engaged. It is an ugly first micro-macro cross because we have very little structure to cover the trade. Ideally, you should cover it up here. At the very least, I would suggest either the macro line or perhaps even the crest in the macro line. But it is an ugly looking first micro-macro cross signal. Not to say that first micro-macro cross won't work out, but we've got a little bit of a pullback that we may have to deal with as the buyers try to finally give us that test of the extreme we've been waiting for, or I've been waiting for anyway. Wow, Gary, nicely done. Gary says he picked up another 9 points on that decline. There's, we did get a reversal signal right here. Technically, it wasn't our soft edge sell. It did have all the components. I didn't point it out because I thought for sure we were going to see a little test of the extreme here, at least 1 or 2 bars up, and then another failure. But after this last breakout and reversal, it became a little bit apparent that the buyers were running out of steam. So even though it did not print, it did sort of have all the elements of a reversal signal. And now we're down here and the market essentially kind of neutral again. I do believe we will see a test of the extreme. I don't believe the buyers are going to walk away from the market entirely, not after yesterday and today's rallies. Yeah, way to go, Gary. Gary says, I'm done for the day. Ain't giving it back. That is the best plan. So if we shoot a trend line across yesterday's low to the overnight lows, oh, there we are. Kind of flirting with that zone right now. So we're into the primary support here, 53.87. We're pretty much full on bearish here with the hawk. Eagle, not yet. And the falcon, well, in spite of the market falling off so quickly, we really haven't produced a trend change signal just yet. So the falcon looking a little bit, just a little bit bullish. Mildly bullish. Trade forecasts are saying we're about to be moving into scalp mode. Oh goody. Wow, they're slow on the follow through this morning, aren't they? Seems like they take forever to set up, and then they run away real quick, and then they take forever to set up again. A good question here from Gary. Gary asks, I know you take the signals from the birds, etc., but have you ever just taken the ultimate support and resistance levels, using them as targets and entries? That's what I've been doing all morning. Short answer, yes. Long answer, so what Gary is talking about is he's looking at, say, like this trend change signal that we had in the Falcon. It breached the primary support zone, so he bought it up. This late filter entry signal breached the median resistance line, so he probably bought it up. It reversed, it breached to the short side, so he probably sold it. Little bounces like this, little confirmation, a little double bottom type thing, buy up off of the support zone. Yes, is like I say, the short answer. The long answer is, because this is also a training room, not just a trading room, I try to highlight the signals on each of the tools so that you get to learn the tools themselves. If we were just focusing on trade calls, yeah, I'd probably be a little bit more aggressive on some of the signals. Like I know trading in hindsight is easy, but I almost pointed out this failure signal here. But that unfortunately doesn't really help anybody who's trying to learn the system, right? They're looking at the Raptor and they're saying, well, why is he shorting there? That's not a signal. So yes, for the most part, I do try to stay with the signals. Occasionally, I'll sneak something in there that might look a little promising. But yeah, the Ultimate Support and Resistance Suite, I'm very, very pleased with how that turned out. That's just been a great tool. We've got a lot of praise for it. I'm very pleased with it. Yes, Gary. Gary asked, did you write the code for it? Well, Ben actually wrote the code, but it's my math behind the lines. I used to calculate these lines manually, And then Adam convinced me to have Ben code it. They're actually based off of a lot of price action. What a lot of people don't realize is that the market will have a tendency, or different markets have a tendency to move a certain number of points in a day, certain number of ticks. And that's a big variable for the ultimate support and resistance suite. It analyzes how much the market has been moving and tries to forecast how much it's going to move today. Trading is largely about observation, if you haven't clued into that one yet. And in spite of what my wife says, I am actually observant. At least when it comes to charts. Maybe nothing else, but at least when it comes to charts, I'm observant. Yeah, I like that comment. Gary says, if nothing else, the ultimate support and resistance levels keep you in a playing field, quote unquote, so you know where you are in the move. I think that's a good way to look at it. The lines themselves, well, here I'll show you on the Falcon, there's fewer lines. So we know we're trading off of the pardon me, primary support. We're below the median line, so technically the market's a little bit more bearish at this point, even though we're likely to see that test of the extreme we've been waiting for all morning. Looks like we're finally seeing a little bit of a reversal there before the sellers may step up and try to knock it down again. But I find it works really well for targets as well. I remember Omar, when he was hosting the Forex trading room, he would always be using the next support or resistance area as a profit-taking target. Now everything's flip-flopping again. So rather than get a little bit of a retracement here and another sell signal, the hawk is drifting into yellow bars. The Falcon, the trend line is flipping over. Actually, we've got an in-sync signal here on the Eagle. Is that our first one today? A little bit of an ugly buy signal. but seems to me the market's in a great big sideways trading range. Trade forecaster would seem to concur. Scalp mode for almost an hour, after which we might see a breakout in the afternoon and the market actually pick a direction. Would that not be nice? Sellers trying to beat up on the buyers, but no luck just yet. You can see here the Falcon working a possible trend change signal. It hasn't completed yet. We only have the warning dot. Don't get too excited. But here is the push that changed the trend line color from red to green. Here's the sellers trying to regain the downtrend, and then here are the buyers trying to buy the market up. Oh, it's just painful this morning. Such waffling back and forth, back and forth. And here on the Raptor, it looks like, well, we were working a cloud crossover to the short side, but that has since disappeared. I don't know, this big sideways range that I pointed out before, not really giving me a warm fuzzy feeling. And here we are right back where we started the morning, around that 53.94.95 area. Wow. All right, now we're getting a green bar sell. Jeepers, we just have a real dog's breakfast here this morning. You know, I look at this green bar sell, and it's so neutral. It's almost right dead in the middle of this trading range. The thing with the green bar sell is you can set up for the failure. You can do the counter trend move. Or you can take it with trend as well. I guess you'd have to cover it somewhere around the crest here in the macro line. Oh, good to know. Gary says he's been testing the NinjaTrader 8 with the Raptor and Trade Manager, and so far no conflicts. Good news. All right, let's put that away for now. I've had a couple modest trades this morning, nothing extravagant, but even so, I hate to blow it out of the water on a silly trade. You know, the thing with the green bar sell signal, well, especially this one, it has a very bear flag shape to it, doesn't it? The green bar sell does tend to develop near the end of a trend. So you can always just interpret it as an early warning that perhaps the trend, the existing trend, is going to turn. Our trend change signal on the Falcon never quite materialized. We might actually be getting a cloud crossover here on the Raptor. A lot of waiting this morning. Good reason for you to have a comfortable office chair. Okay, so we're getting a chance at a second push entry here on the Raptor trade. And we'll see now whether or not the sellers are serious. About pressing this market. This, by the way, is an early cloud crossover, if you haven't spotted it yet. The reason the Raptor did not signal is the hard edges have not crossed just yet. But it is still a cloud crossover. Your cloud has gone from bullish to bearish. We got the little retreat into the cloud pushing the market back out. It is a cloud crossover, even though it is not, according to the programming, technically a cloud crossover. You know, we've been playing around the same numbers all morning here. Yeah, we'll see you, Gary. Gary writes, I'm heading out. Need to turn the machine off before I do something stupid. This is typically the time of day I give money back. See you tomorrow. See you later, Gary. And that is so true. That is so true. But good for Gary for recognizing that. Now, if we can see this drift just a little bit lower, I'm going to start getting a little bit more aggressive with my stops. It's hard to believe that this may turn out to be the test of the extreme, but so far that's what we're looking at. Here we go, come on. Here we go. You can do it! So you see how these candles here have these wicks to them? If I can get this bar to close on the low, then that will be my cue that, okay, I can start to roll my stops, because we've had a couple of bars here where the buyers have tried to buy. You know, at one point during the life of this bar, it was up here. So hopefully we'll see it fall down to here, close on the low. Certainly, if we take out the lows here, we should see a little bit of a burst to the downside, perhaps even get us back toward the lows of the day. Come on, one more tick. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go with a slightly more aggressive stop right now. So a break of this whole 53.84 area, that's going to clear out some of the buyers, I think. I'm going to trap a few buyers on the wrong side of their positions, and we should have no difficulty finding our profit objective if we can break below there. In fact, I'll make that my break even, 53.84. There we go. Come on. You know you want to. Come on. Get down there. Look at the buyers. Look at the buyers just trying to support that whole 53.84 area. Ooh, when these guys get tagged, there is going to be some follow through here. I'm debating releasing the profit objective. And you know what? I'm going to chicken out here, and I'm going to take this trade to break even. No, get away from there. I'm being a little, darn it, being a little aggressive with my stops, but I didn't like how the market was flinching at 53.84. I do still believe we will see a breakout there, but like I said, I had a couple of modest trades today, so I didn't want to blow it out of the water. All right, gang, I'm going to close up the trading room here this morning, and well, we'll do it all again tomorrow. We'll talk to you then. Bye for now.